I'll have a large iced dirty chai, please.
Oh, you're an anxious avoidant.
I'm sorry?
And you drive a Nissan Altima.
How do you know that?
This is a hot dog is a sandwich.
Ketchup is a smoothie.
Yeah, I put ice in my cereal, so what?
That makes no sense.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
A hot dog is a sandwich.
Welcome to our podcast, A Hot Dog is a Sandwich. I'm your host, Josh Scher.
And I'm your host, Nicole.
And we are here with the internet's favorite barista and 2022 U.S. Barista champion, Morgan Eckroth, a.k.a. MorganDrinksCoffee.
Hello. I don't usually get the second half of my, title says. This is very exciting to be a barista champion here.
I almost did the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls, standing 6'6". And then, Nicole, you have to start doing the the soft music.
I'll do a little...
Standing 6'6" for your U.S. Barista champion, Morgan Eckroth.
If I got you in contact with the right people, do you think you would MC competitions this year? Because this could be very fun. We could get you fully in the scene.
Please let him do this.
And as a coffee aficionado who only drinks the finest of fresh ground and roasted beans, I think I would be perfect for that.
I will say, last time I was here, I made you a ranch cortado, I think. So
Wow. TBT throwback.
Well, the funny thing about that, from a food science perspective, is the amount of egg in ranch in the protein actually solidifies in hot water and it cooks it
it coagulates in a very maggot-like way.
Yeah, it looked like Spätzle, the German dumpling.
Yeah.
Spätzle?
Yeah. Spätzle.
Spätzle?
What we are talking about today, Morgan, we have brought you in for a very special podcast. This is what your coffee order says about you.
That's right.
So we are getting into a bit of Freudian and Jungian. That's right. We're getting into the shadow
Carl
self
Jung.
today.
We're going to get into trouble today is what we're going to do.
And we're going to try and figure out what our coffee orders say about us and then throw out some other hypotheticals. But first, we need to know what your typical coffee order is. I see you drinking some brew right there.
This is a very vulnerable question to
I know.
I love that. I love that we're asking it.
Okay, it depends. It's very contextual. It's very seasonal.
Okay.
So black coffee is great. I love black coffee. Drink black coffee. I drink straight espresso. It's great. It's wonderful. Sometimes I don't always want that. And so when I don't want those things, usually it's like a mocha. I'm like chocolate and coffee and milk, and it's like the perfect combination. It's caffeinated hot chocolate and it's delicious.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's funny because chocolate and coffee, mocha is maybe the genesis of all coffee in the world, which a lot of people I don't think know. Mocha is a port in Yemen. I read friend of the show and close personal homie Tom Hanks gave me a book called The Monk of Mocha.
That was quite the drop right there.
What a flex. What a flex.
It's the one thing I have. Just give it to me. But no, he did. He sent me a book called The Monk of Mocha.
I know the very one.
About Mokhtar Al-Kanshali.
Yep.
And I had a coffee once. We were briefly talking about this. It was a $16 cup of coffee from Blue Bottle that was from these beans that this man smuggled out of the port of Mocha. And I think that was the moment when I realized, there is a level of coffee.
Oh, the rabbit hole has just opened, and you are now tumbling down into it.
I felt spiraling.
Truly.
About the mocha that you order, is that if you're going into a really good coffee shop that you trust, or you would go to say a Starbucks and get a mocha?
That's my default safe order. It's one of those. It's hard to mess that combination of things up, and so it's my safe order if I know I need caffeine and don't really want to mess around with ordering coffee or espresso. It's also my for here order. So if I'm going to be studying or working somewhere, that's the drink that I want sitting next to me the whole time.
I miss sitting at a coffee shop and working at a coffee shop so much. I used to do that when I was a 1099, a freelancer.
Yeah.
That was my jam. Just sitting down with a sauce, a cup.
Yes.
And a saucer.
And there's just a buzz and kind of a hum around you, and the baristas are over there.
Gosh.
It's lovely.
Can I do that tomorrow? Do I need to come into work?
We have a really busy day. We have a really busy day tomorrow.
I really want to just
Saturday.
There's enough space in here to kind of makeshift a little little cafe setup.
But the buzz and the strangers coming in and summer's feeling nice laptop sticker.
Josh
I want
just
that.
providing white noise in the background for your cafe experience. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned context being key in how you order coffee. The coffee shop that I used to work from when I was a freelancer was Cafe Bene.
Cafe Bene.
Does anybody know that name?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah.
I can tell you I haven't been there before, but the name conjures.
Where is it?
You should really check it out because it is a coffee chain from Seoul, South Korea, and it was in Koreatown. It was
Yes.
2-story, and like
Oh, that's cool.
it reminded
That's very
me
cool.
of the library that I used to go to at UCLA too. There are a lot of Korean students in there, but I used to get an injolmi latte. Injolmi is like a Korean candy that is made from this like savory bean and grain powder.
Sounds
Okay.
incredible.
And so, when in a Korean coffee shop, I'm going to order something like that.
Sure.
If you're at like the dive bar equivalent of a coffee shop, you know what I
Sure.
mean?
I know what you mean.
What's your order? Does that differ?
Honestly, if I'm at like a dive bar coffee shop, I'm getting like a mug of like diner coffee.
Sure.
Like I want
Same.
I want like a mug of diner coffee, and I want like the side of cream and sugar, and I want to make like a potion for myself. Like that's the
Yes.
experience I want out of that scenario. Very much
love
so.
it.
Same.
And then if you are at a spot that you're like, this is a vaunted coffee shop, like
Sure.
this is high level, is there something you go to there?
I'm buying the $16 pour over.
Yes, but that's it. It's like the pour over of like, I'm selecting the
If-
beans that are from Costa Rica, et cetera,
Yeah,
et cetera.
it's kind of tricky because I have this part of me that like loves all the milk drinks and all the fun beverages
Sure.
and stuff like that. I love that. But then there's also the kind of like coffee person side of me that has this whole range of just like coffees that I like. And so that's why I said it depends contextually. It's like if I'm at a space or a cafe where I know that this side of that kind of coffee menu isn't going to be available to me, I'm like not even going to really mess with it. I'm going to go over here to these like fun, comforting drinks that I know
Sure.
I'm going to like. But the minute I see this side of the menu open up to that level of coffee, I'm like, I am there, like
love that.
100%.
Right on.
Now, what do you think that says about Morgan? Let's focus on the mocha first. Let's focus on the mocha thing, because that was actually really unexpected for me.
I mean, the fact that you're a mocha person, it threw me for a loop.
I'm very I like publicly admit to this, and I feel like it gets me into hot
awesome.
water
Yeah, you're
sometimes.
openly a mocha person.
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
out there.
I mean, I don't think it should get you in hot water. I mean, all the answers together, I think, just proves that you're just such a chameleon, and you're
Thank you.
you're such a malleable person.
Oh,
I mean, you don't.
I
Even,
aim to be
yeah,
malleable.
I mean, it's just cool how you don't have like one standard of where you go. Like you've curated this.
It feels like
life
it
for yourself.
limits you. Like
Yeah.
if you go into a place and you're like, I only drink black coffee, and then you get a bad cup of
Yeah.
black coffee, you're not going to enjoy yourself when you could have had like a delicious other
Absolutely.
beverage and had a
so
lovely
curated.
time.
I think it's just so curated, and you care so much about your experiences.
I do.
That you're willing
To a fault, usually.
Yeah, same. And it's just incredible how you've curated this little microcosm of coffee for
Thank
yourself.
you.
I love it.
Thank
your
you.
Own, your own
Fan.
personal coffee paradise.
I'm a fan.
The reason, so I would associate mocha with like 1997. Second, no, hear me out.
I was
This is
not
ultimately
yet
a compliment.
born.
This is a compliment. God, are you really?
Really?
When are you born?
98, yeah.
Oh my God. But like 1997, Starbucks is starting to boom. You got that like second wave of
Seattle
coffee.
is like rolling in hard right now.
And they're like,
Yeah.
we need a new drink. Like this is literally how the pumpkin spice latte was invented. It was literally Starbucks chief marketing officer was like, we need something new. But I feel like the mocha,
We need to innovate here.
like straight up. And then there was like a little of just like warm spice, and boom,
Yeah.
that was it. But mocha to me reminds me of like the Cosmo, right? The Cosmopolitan, the drink.
Oh.
It's like this kind of late 90s,
Yep.
like,
Interesting.
ooh, this is
I
fresh
actually
and now.
completely agree with this comparison. I think this
Wow.
is spot on. Yeah.
Whereas now, if I saw somebody order a Cosmo at a bar, I would think one of two things. I'd be like, you just watched the DVD box set of Sex and the City,
Okay.
or you are so on the cutting edge of bartending and alcohol culture that
Come full
you
circle.
full circle 100. It's smash burgers too, same
Sure,
thing.
sure,
Smash
sure.
burgers were what everybody was making in 1961.
Yeah.
And then we got away from it because they were harder to do, and now we're full circle back. But like the Cosmo, I have a bartender friend who's like knows the entire history of the Cosmopolitan and the bar it was invented at in New York.
Cool.
And I feel like that's the mocha, where it's like, hey, I know so much about this, but I'm not pretentious about it. I'm not too precious about it. But I know so much that I know how to like what I like, and I know this is what I like.
Exactly.
And I think it's beautiful.
Thank
and
you.
chocolate and coffee, like anytime
Hey,
you bake.
you
Mashed bacon
cannot
heaven.
go. Those two go together. They enhance each other. Like it's a good thing.
Yeah, I used to work at a chocolate store, and we were trained as blue bottle baristas there.
Oh, that's cool.
So
That's
it was
best
really
of
cool.
both worlds.
So it was really fun. So we used to make this. We had 3 different chocolate show. Is that how you say it?
Chocolat chaud.
Chocolate show.
Ouais.
He's like,
Je parle juste un peu.
he's on Duolingo. But we had 3 incredible hot chocolates. There was a Parisian, there was an Aztec, and then there was a white chocolate. And the Aztec had like cinnamon and really delicious chilies, and it was phenomenal. And then we had another mocha. It was a white chocolate with lavender and lemongrass.
Oh, hell yes.
Awesome.
Let me tell you, a shot of espresso in any one of them would like change your day. Your day would just turn around. But in the Parisian with just vanilla bean, and we would make our own hand whipped cream. We would just flap it on there. It was one of the most delicious experiences that I haven't had since I was like 22.
Is this still open? Can we go back?
No,
Can we all
it's
just go there
closed.
tonight?
It's closed, but
Damn.
you've inspired me to want to have a mocha because I haven't had that chocolatey coffee
so
experience
comforting.
in like maybe 7-8 years. And what am I? I'm like,
What am I doing with myself?
Why am I doing this to myself? What do I gain from just having plain coffee?
I'm just so truly a person that believes you should treat yourself, and if you like something, you should go enjoy that thing. And so it's just that goes with
you're
coffee
right.
too. And sometimes that's a little pokey for like kind of the purist coffee drinkers. But I'm like, hey, there's all sides to this. Like I can love like an anaerobic natural like geisha from Colombia. But I also want.
Did you know
I'm
any?
just gonna throw words at you.
Or like spandex.
Colombian, I got the rest.
Colombia, I
I
got.
don't really get.
And I know the Colombian.
You just let me know how deep down this rabbit hole you want to go. 'Cause
Coffee got to Colombia by way of
Aerobics.
by way of a Dutch trader who stole it from Louis XIV.
Is that
and
true?
smuggled it out in a bouquet. I know all this from the one
Wow.
book. That's neither here nor there. Nicole, what is your coffee order? I want Morgan to psychoanalyze.
Okay.
I'm so
well,
excited.
if I go to Starbucks, I get a pumpkin cream cold brew.
Okay.
Because it's so good. And I love it so much that I don't know if you guys have seen this thought exercise on TikTok where they say you have to have 5 liquids come out of your fingers. Have you guys seen that on
I've
TikTok?
hell?
seen this one. Someone said gasoline, and I was like, brilliant.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
Brilliant.
One
Sorry,
of
stop
mine was
fingering your car.
one of mine was definitely gasoline, and then the second one is pumpkin cream cold brew because I love that stuff.
That's incredible.
The fact that it's seasonal makes me a little bit sad, but I still absolutely love it. If I'm not in the vicinity of a Starbucks, my go-to is an Americano, a hot Americano with sugar in the raw.
Okay,
like
yes.
one of the baggies.
Yeah, the little
and then-
demerara sugar.
and then a splash of cream. I am
Yeah.
lactose intolerant. I will still have the cream.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I can only drink oat milk, but if I'm having a coffee with cream in it, I don't want oat milk in my coffee.
No, I
want
don't.
cream in my coffee.
I want cream
yes,
in my coffee.
okay, I respect that.
And specifically, if it's Strauss milk, if it's Strauss Creamery cream, I'm a happy girl.
Do you know Strauss Creamery, or is that
I'm
just a
not
California
familiar
thing?
with Strauss. I think
it's
that
a
might be
very
just a California thing.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's like the best
We're
dairy
very
I've
proud of our
ever
cows.
had.
I'd like to
Happy
try it
cows
now.
come from California. Everybody knows that. But if I'm not in that kind of vibe, probably just like a drip coffee with a splash of oat milk and a little bit of vanilla. I make vanilla syrup at home.
Yeah.
And I don't drink milk at home either.
Sure.
So right now, what do I have in my fridge?
It's weird how that goes around. The cream only comes into play at like in one very
Someone's-
specific scenario.
Yeah, when I'm outside.
Sure.
When I'm outside. But when I'm inside of the house, I have an espresso machine. So I use my espresso machine, and then I make a vanilla bean syrup because I bought like a tumbler, like a Cambro of vanilla paste. And I'm like, I got to use this up somehow. So I make
Does
a
the vanilla paste cost as much as the vanilla beans do?
a little bit more. I actually don't know. I don't know.
Because I know that
you
stuff
think-
gets expensive
It's pretty, the
real fast.
Nielsen Massey
I
is the
have the
brand.
Nielsen
Yes.
Massey.
Yeah.
It's like a Stanley cup of vanilla paste.
It's like $100. Like
It was expensive, yeah,
love
but
that
I'm
for
like,
you. It's
like an
whatever.
investment,
It's an
yeah.
investment, and it's never gonna go back ever. But I make a vanilla syrup with that, and then right now I have macadamia nut milk
Interesting.
and hemp milk.
Mac milk's pretty good.
So those are my alternative milks that I have in my house right
Okay.
now. But I don't like it whenever I get like that stuff from a coffee shop.
Sure.
I like it at home.
yeah.
So
You're
those
in
are-
control of those.
Yeah, I'm in control of those. So what does that say about me?
There's a lot of things going on here. I feel I want to start with I feel like the Starbucks order. I feel like so the pumpkin cream cold brew. Yes.
Yes, correct.
I personally have had a fair amount of the Starbucks like cold brew and like sweet cream like options.
Yeah.
I think they're one of Starbucks like better lines of drinks personally. Like
sure.
they're also I think from like a visual standpoint very nice. Like you get some like flair
Yes,
in the
I'm a big
actual
visual
build. It's not
person.
just like a kind of a cup that's been like handed to you. I think you like texture a lot. Is what I'm
do.
hearing throughout all these too. There's,
She's like a
there's
cat.
like
How do
you know
there's
me
like
so
multiple
well?
very distinct textures in all these drinks.
Texture, yes, big time. big time.
What do you get at Starbucks when it's not pumpkin season? Do you still get a cold brew with a sweet foam?
I don't try to go if it's not.
Okay.
I was gonna say potato season.
season.
When it's not pumpkin season, I'm not there.
Cappuccino with potato milk, please.
It's coming. It is.
We're this close. But
I think you have a certain amount of joie de vivre. That's a joie de vivre
what does
ass
that
drink.
mean?
This
Joie
guy's
de
on
vivre.
Joie de vivre.
The joy of life. You take great pleasure in life. The fact that you get the pumpkin cold, what is it? Pumpkin cold cream cold
Pumpkin
brew?
cream cold brew.
Pumpkin cream cold brew. To me, it is fun. It is whimsical, limited time. You love life.
I do have one question. When you get an Americano, what size do you get and how many shots do you get?
I normally get a large.
Okay.
I get a large,
like a 16 ounce?
a large
Yeah.
16-ounce Americano with, it's always one sugar in the raw, no matter what size it is, though.
Oh, I like that.
Always one sugar in the raw, and then I ask for the cream on the side, and it's always in these little cups, and I just throw it in,
Do you ever take the cups?
like the mini cups.
Do they give it, are like real ones or are they just little
They're little
fake
They're
ones?
little like fake espresso.
little fake
cups.
ones. Okay.
No, I never take.
I worked at a cafe once where we gave customers little like, there were these cute little like cream containers that would kind of go on the side and it looked beautiful. And we noticed our supply of cups was going
I would
very
never.
low very quickly. And there
Yeah.
was one time I actually saw someone like pocket in their purse, like one of them. And I was like, I can't chase you, but I really want to right now. I saw
My morals
that.
wouldn't let me.
Local
pocket it.
barista arrested for assault.
Hopefully that's never about me.
But yeah, that's what I do. I do it on the side. I don't want the barista to do it for me. I want to
Sure.
do it myself.
I respect that. I respect the control, and I also respect the like particularness you have about your drinks. And I like it quite a bit.
I want to hold your feet to the fire here a little bit. Do you feel that there are times in your life?
What's up?
Do you feel that there are times in your life where you struggle with control? Nicole, do you feel like there are times when you're like, hey,
how
maybe
many years have you
maybe
How many years have you known me now?
too many years to know that you definitely have issues with control?
Would you like me to say yes for the sake of this episode?
Well, I think that's an interesting
Yeah,
thing
a
about
little
coffee is
bit,
there's so many
yeah.
variables to it that when somebody is like, if I don't have hemp milk, then I use this. And if I don't have mac nut milk, then I use this. And I've made my own syrup because I don't trust the syrups. I don't get hemp milk over there. It's something that really does show you a lot about somebody, which is why I wanted to do this episode.
yes.
And it's an interesting thing too from like the barista side because you see like that like that kind of personality type like play out in cafes quite frequently. And it's interesting because from my side, serving like a billion coffees each day, it's kind of like, oh, it's your coffee. Like it's just, you could have another one. Like it's just like it's an easily replaceable thing because I'm making these constantly. But it's like from the customer side, like especially if that is like your treat that you are. This is like the start of this is like the foundation of how your day is gonna go.
The raison d'etre.
Yes.
Can you use other languages to explain
I'd like
words?
German for the rest of this.
999.
It's a very interesting thing to then, because I understand the need for control because it's like, this is how the day is starting. This is how I'm expecting my drink to be. And if it's not like that, the day is kind of off in the wrong pattern.
Yeah. One time I remember whenever I got a coffee from this coffee shop in downtown LA and I drank it and I didn't realize until I was like maybe 2 blocks that way that I picked up someone else's order.
It happens.
And I felt...
They're fine.
You don't
okay.
even know.
It's okay.
The emotional anguish I felt when I'm like, this is the best vanilla latte I've ever had. And then I found out it wasn't even a vanilla latte. I don't even know what it was.
You'll never be able to find it again.
I'll never be able to find it again. The soul crushing anxiety. I'm like, I just stole someone's drink. Their day is ruined.
But you know what? You had the best vanilla latte you had ever had.
Oh my God, it was so damn good. And then I felt bad because I stole it from someone.
You talked about treating yourself with coffee. I think the way that I drink coffee is the complete antithesis to that.
Medicine?
Maximum efficiency.
It's like medicine, but also, okay, so I think there's a lot of weird gender stuff locked up in these beverages. And
Okay.
I'll tell you what, like, if you were to poll so tea was the big drink in America, literally until the Boston Tea Party.
Wow.
And then there was like a concerted, forgive me if I'm wrong in any of this, there's almost a concerted PR effort. Like Thomas Jefferson came out with a statement after that was like, coffee is the greatest American beverage of them all.
There was I actually did not to totally derail, but this is similar. I did like a whole video on this a couple months ago when I looked into vintage coffee recipe books. That was the whole thing. And there was a very, very specific ad campaign that happened in the early, like I want to say like the 1930s or 1940s around coffee. And it was a coalition between a North American coffee group and Brazil. And it was all about increasing Brazil's exports of coffee into the US. And so there were huge marketing campaigns about bringing coffee into the home and making it a fun beverage that came from this like group that was just looking to increase coffee sales, which is super interesting.
That there is a PR story behind like every food boom in the US. But I always, since I was young, associated like drinking strong black coffee with like, this is something that strong men do. And I was raised by a single dad trying to figure out what it meant to be a man in this world. And I was 7, 8 years old and I was like, black coffee is the key.
Right.
Despite the fact that like tea is considered a very masculine thing in several other cultures, you know? And also we shouldn't be gendering our drinks. But again, I was a child.
It's part of for sure.
And like you said, coffee is something that you have a lot of like identity locked up in.
You have preconceived notions of it. You see certain people drinking it. You don't see others. Like it's just, you kind of just take it all in and digest it.
100%. And so since I was like 7, 8 years old, I would like drink black coffee despite the fact that kids
8 years old.
You just went off the deep end like immediately, which
100%.
I love.
yeah, big time. And so I have this like weird relationship with black coffee now where I almost recognize that I don't like the taste, but anything else tastes foreign to me because I've been drinking it for so long. And so when I go to a coffee shop, I get the largest iced red eye they have.
Oh, red eye. Can you tell the people at home?
Tell them what that is.
Morgan, you don't know what red eye is. Morgan, you don't.
Red eye is something where you order it and we're like, okay. All right.
We're going through something.
Here's a contract. We need you to sign this before we serve it. No, red eye is traditionally, correct me if this is wrong, because red eyes are also, like, this is one of these drinks that have super regional titles. Like, this is in Portland, most often, red eyes will be ordered as shot in the darks.
Oh, funny.
That's what you'll see them as. I know red eye, I believe, is also a pretty big East Coast thing. Like you'll hear red eye over there a bit too, and then you'll also hear black eye sometimes. But it is a cup of coffee with espresso in it, and size varies, but it's like you're doubling down on both sides of it.
Absolutely.
Do you put anything in it?
No.
And it's
Nicole,
ice.
because I gotta be a man.
When it's cold brew, that's even more terrifying, frankly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I like it's cold and I can drink it faster.
And big.
You go real fast afterwards.
Like, oh my gosh, like 18 ounces. Like 18 ounces of coffee.
It depends. I've tried to keep it a little bit chiller since then because, you know, the old ticker as I get older.
You can only do that for so long.
But that's my coffee shop order. And then at home, I told Morgan that I would not tell them what my coffee drink at home is. Don Francisco. Ever heard of him?
I have heard of him.
Okay.
This is an LA-based company.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And he was a Mexican entertainer.
Yes, every Saturday night I would watch it with my parents. We went over this before. I'm a big Don Francisco fan.
And also Jew.
Yes, correct.
Supporting a local Mexican Jew LA-based company. I love it. But the reason that I'm like slowly trying to wean myself off of this like necessary pleasure inhibition that I have where I'm like, enjoy your coffee. So I get the butterscotch toffee scented Don Francisco. I brew it extra strong. Go ahead.
No, you continue.
Okay. And then I take a little bit of whole milk because I only keep whole milk in the house because I cook with it.
Good.
Splash of whole milk. And then I have a probably like a 2-gallon bag of Splenda that I mean to put in a little dispenser, but I never fill it up. And so I take the bag of Splenda and I kind of try and teeter some of it out. And then I drink about 20.
This image is phenomenal with
and
your
I go to bed
bag.
on Friday night, like just dreaming of making this drink in the morning. I can't wait to have my coffee when I wake up. I wake up like an hour and a half before Julia. I play some video games, drinking this coffee.
You play video games in the morning?
Playing Rocket League on Saturday mornings at like 6:30 a.m.
What?
Yeah.
This is the life I aspire to live, frankly.
Honestly.
No way.
Yeah. And so those are my drinks. And I almost never get lattes. I just don't think I love
lattes.
I don't think I love the combination of dairy and coffee.
Okay.
I don't think I need it. There's certain things that I don't think need fat to carry it. But yeah, those are my drinks.
First of all, I love that you. First of all, I love that is your drink of choice. I'm glad you have that experience And it's so particular, and I love that. It is one of my favorite things to hear people's like from me. I'm hearing you describe this drink, and I'm like, this is insane.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I fully understand having those things that just work for you, and that's the tradition, and that's part of it. You drink a red eye every day?
Not every day, no.
Okay.
So
When you go out.
this is the worst part. Every day I wake up to a scoop of C4 Ultimate Explode, which gives me about 250 mils of caffeine. And so from there, I need to kind of chill.
Yes.
But if I'm on vacation, especially, that's when I wake up, don't have the pre-workout. And so I need just
you need
I need the electrodes.
I was gonna say this is like a
yeah, but I genuinely do though love the taste of a red eye, shot in the dark, whatever.
Yeah.
Because to me, espresso, you don't get to drink enough of it.
This is true.
Espresso.
And then American drip coffee just like tends to be a little bit weak. My Italian roommates used to call it dirty water. And so you get like the best of both worlds to me, like that richness of the espresso, but then just the quaffability of coffee.
Do you find I'm curious about this because you're drinking so much black coffee, be it espresso and coffee together. Do you find yourself do you just enjoy it as like a flat thing of like, I like this drink wherever I go, this drink is kind of the same to me? Or do you start to really pick out differences from different shops you go to or like different combinations of like espresso and coffee together?
So one thing, I actually really don't like cold brew. And maybe this is an unfair characterization, but to me, cold brew, the ones that I've had are like a little bit more acidic.
Totally fair.
In a way.
Cold brew is kind of a weird, I like cold brew for the most part, but it's real easy to go real wrong with it.
Yeah, I like it mixed with something else.
Yes.
Yeah, and then sometimes I feel like it's a little bit like lighter of a roast. I don't know. I want just like a nice dark roast, hot brewed coffee, chilled down in a fridge overnight, and then just a shot of espresso right in there. Plenty of ice, kind of dilute it like a good cocktail, you know? And so I'm sure there are differences, but I'm drinking it too fast. I often say like me caring about...
You really are going for efficiency here.
Efficiency with just enough
enjoyment
to keep me on that efficient path. Yeah.
Okay.
Josh,
I love that.
Thank you.
Okay. How many more minutes do we have for this podcast? 5. Okay, Josh, this is an intervention. Sorry to be so
time to do this.
I have written you a page about how much I care about you.
Yeah.
But I think I'm just
read fast.
gonna can it. Why do you like caffeine so much? This is it's like assaulting how much you love caffeine.
Yeah. I'll tell you why. No, and I don't know if you, as a fellow ADHDer, can like. I mean, you've chosen a career in the caffeine business. It makes my brain finally catch up to my racing inner monologue.
I see.
I can relate to this. I will say I do my best to curb my caffeine.
Good for you.
No, that was not a slight. I fully understand that like you need something to get the horses off to the races a little bit, which I fully understand. I also this is total side tangent. I'm gonna send you a grinder. I'm gonna get you a grinder in your home.
That'd be nice.
So you can have all those delicious whole bean coffees and you can grind them yourself.
Yeah,
It's gonna be very exciting.
I would like that because we've gotten a lot of coffee gifts from people, and I just have them stockpiled on my
You're
desk.
just there. You're
you
like,
deserve a good grinder.
Shout out to Dan Sugarman. I haven't drank your coffee yet because I don't own a grinder.
but he will very soon.
Very soon. Is the Don Francisco? I'm sorry. Did you say toffee crunch?
Butterscotch toffee.
Let's go back to that.
Oh, please. Yeah.
And so if I were to open the canister, it would just be like butterscotch toffee, like punching me in the face.
Yeah, but only when you really huff it.
Okay.
You gotta get your like nose in there and like really.
And I think the fumes kind of get in the blood vessels, and they get you a little jacked up.
for sure.
So you think it tastes quote unquote fake?
What is fake really?
No, you know what I'm saying. Because you
it's all aroma though. It's like you don't get it in the coffee really. I've done like I've tasted some like dastardly like flavored coffees before. It's the only way that they can be described. And it's weird because you will open up a bag of it and it will just assault your senses, but then you grind it and you brew the coffee and it's just kind of coffee. Like there's the oils that they're coating these in doesn't really translate to the cup in a
Is that so? Do you feel that way too about your butterscotch toffee situation, or do you feel like it just inundates your every pore in your being?
Well, I'll tell you what. So while I'm doing
really soaks into the skin.
While I'm doing my Rocket League warm-ups while the coffee's brewing,
naturally,
the aroma, that's a big part of coffee.
Sure.
And so I'm smelling
Major
it.
part.
The best part of waking up, right?
It smells like a candy store, and there the butterscotch toffee, it's emanating, I'm doing my little drill. Should I make sure my skids are right?
Butterscotch coffee. It is emanating.
Oh my gosh.
And so, yeah, it also smells a part of taste. And so, especially when you add just a sickening amount of Splenda in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Splenda doesn't blend in. It floats on top.
Oh, unique.
A little texture,
That's
a little bite, a little
unique
crunch.
thing that I think only you experience.
Yeah.
I don't know what this says about you other than
Sometimes protein powder goes in there too.
that's fine. I'm a big fan
I understand
of
that I kind of assumed
Profi?
that was there already.
Is that what
frankly.
the kids call it? Profi?
Profi?
Is that what they call it? Protein
coffee? Profi?
I call it
see them-
produce. It's like go juice, but produce.
Produce.
I don't know what that says, what this whole coffee thing says about you, except you're Josh Scherer, baby. That's all you are.
Were you surprised by would you have expected a different answer from me?
No, this was exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
I
Fair,
think.
fair, fair.
Same.
We a little rapid fire for other people out there.
Sure.
What are the most common coffee orders that you see where you think baristas are like judging people?
Ooh, I think there's a lot of perceived judginess. It's kind
Funny.
of like the whole like every customer is like, my order is so complicated,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
it's just like a million times. Like it's fine. Like just order whatever you want. I think the ones that people think they're getting judged for the most is when they start like adding things, and I feel like if they feel like they add more than like 2 things, it's complicated. So people will be like, I'll have like a vanilla latte with oat milk, an extra shot. I'm sorry, like, and it's like that, and it's like it's fine. Like no one actually cares, and the people that are getting bent out of shape, like that's a them problem,
That's
and
personality
that's
issue.
like that's a you problem.
Yeah.
Anxious avoidant.
Yes,
I
yeah.
don't know what that means.
Way to tie back.
But there are, I'm trying to think about things that I have judged customers for, even in like, kind of earlier barista times. And I think I've never necessarily judged someone as much as I've felt concerned for people. And there was it's like people who get like, they're getting like 6 to 8 shots, like first thing in the morning. And you kind of see them at lunchtime and they're doing the order again. And it's the same order. And it's like those ones I'm like, hey, like I think we need to talk here and just make sure we're on the same page. But very, very few judgy drinks that I think I feel about people.
For the record, I keep my caffeine consumption under 500 milligrams a day. FDA says 400 milligrams
So
is
a little
toxic.
disclaimer.
Good. Okay.
But I'm larger than most people, and so I deserve to up it. And also, I need it. Daddy needs it.
This is
You
fair.
deserve what you deserve, Josh.
How do you feel about espresso tonics?
Oh, I love them. I love them. I think they're delicious. I'm a.
Yes, Josh.
Go on.
Do you have
Your
you-
eyebrows are furrowing.
I am here for a carbonated coffee. I will tell you that much.
I love espresso tonics.
They're very versatile. Like, I mean, just the format. Like, you can take the tonic syrup out. You can put like whatever other syrup you want in there. It's delicious.
I love me the fizzy coffee, and I want actually.
You
one
also
of my,
like a fizzy coffee.
Well, I love specifically drinking straight espresso, which I do love.
Sure.
And if I'm going to a nice coffee shop, I'll actually try something that they're like proud of.
Sure, same.
Yeah. Like I like to,
Yeah.
If you go
Give
to
them their
Yield Spaghetti
flowers.
Factory, you get the spaghetti.
You get the
If you go
Yield
to a
spaghetti,
nice-
sure.
But places that give you the mineral water along with the espresso.
Sidecar, right? Is that what
Oh, a
it's
little
called?
sidecar of
I
sparkling water.
love-
It's lovely.
I love the sidecar.
And you get
too.
a spoon too, and then you like stir it and you sip, and it's lovely.
Like that's such a fun experience. But I went to a coffee shop recently and they had an espresso tonic and I was like, this seems perfect for me. And I got it and it tasted like, I don't know, like cabbage had fermented.
Ew.
It had
That does
such
not
a
sound great.
farty and I couldn't.
farty.
I
Yeah.
will
That's horrible.
say this espresso tonics usually live for the most part at like specialty coffee shops. You don't see them too much in like the Starbucks like second wave realm. They are so highly dependent on what coffee gets put in. I have had some espresso tonics that in theory should have been delicious, but simply because it was like a blend or like a kind of a funkier coffee, it went off the rails so quickly. So I understand what happened to you, and I have had that experience as well. I sympathize very hard with this.
If you had just like one piece of advice to the listeners of like how to enjoy your coffee better, how to make the most out of your coffee experience, what would it be?
Get good coffee. That is the beginning. I think often people are like, is there like a drink or like a whatever? It's like the foundation of all coffee drinks is coffee.
Right.
Get good coffee.
You're right.
And most things will taste pretty good.
That's
Yeah.
insightful.
Sometimes I take Nescafe instant espresso, and I did this in.
We're gonna have to go talk over, over there. I think after this.
Am I interrupting?
No, I'll tell you what I did is I would stir just enough water in it to create a paste. And I would just eat it.
You would
like
eat.
with the
How old
imagine
were you?
with like
Yeah.
a wooden
This is-
like stir stick, just kind of like shoveling.
actually,
How old were you?
Is this like yesterday, or-
this past December? Yeah.
I'm gonna get you a grinder. I'm gonna change your life, Josh.
I need help. Morgan. I need
Thank you
help.
so much. We're not going to BS you. We straight up love nuts.com.
Love nuts.com. Here's the thing. You want nuts. Nuts.com has nuts, and you should go to nuts.com for your nuts. They are delicious. They are great quality. Nicole, the trail mix, do you remember the trail mix? They had the biggest cashews in there that the world has ever seen. They are so fresh. They taste more like cashews than any other I'm being serious right now. Than any other cashews that you've ever had.
Well, that's the ad right there. But if you want more than just nuts, they have tons of classic candies like butterscotch, fudge, and licorice.
That's right. Nuts.com is your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, dried fruit, sweets, pantry staples like specialty flours, and more. And their wide selection means there's something for everyone, especially me who loves nuts. Nicole, I'm verklempt to the nuts.
At nuts.com, quality is a top priority. They roast their nuts and pop their corn the same day it ships, so they reach you deliciously fresh. Satisfaction is guaranteed.
They sent over a bunch of nuts for us to try, like their bourbon pecans, and the psychological hold these freaking nuts have on me is ridiculous. I eat a handful every time I pass the bag in the office, and I could not stop eating them if I tried. I would join a cult led by these bourbon pecans. I live for these bourbon pecans, and Nicole, if asked, I would lay down my life for these bourbon pecans.
Right now, Nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with purchase and free shipping on orders of $29 or more at Nuts.com/hotdog.
How much better Nuts.com's nuts are compared to all the other nuts I've had? They're the Michael Jordan. They are the Wayne Gretzky. I mean, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice. So go check out all the delicious options at nuts.com/hotdog, not hotdog.com/nuts. That's a very different website. You will receive a free gift and free shipping when you spend $29 or more.
That's nuts.com/hotdog.
We love you, Nuts.com.
We over at the Mythical Kitchen team shared all our top picks for Thanksgiving shortcuts over at Sporked.
Yeah, head to the Mythical Kitchen pick section on Spork to find out how we cut corners. All right, Nicole and Morgan, we've heard what you and I have to say. Now it's time to find out what other wacky ideas are rattling out there in the universe. It's time for a segment we call
Opinions Are Like Casseroles.
All right, Maggie, fire up that first opinion.
I'm going to go ahead and leave this message for Nicole. This is Elizabeth from the Midwest, because I'm not sure Josh would answer honestly.
Whoa.
He's always on the pod talking about the massive amounts of protein he eats at a single sitting. What does he balance with that? He's got to just have a rock in his gut that won't process. So is he pounding prunes and like salad with that?
Neither of you.
Or does he just better living through chemistry that problem? Thanks for the podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for directing this question to me, not Josh. I don't know if you heard the podcast that we just did, but it's all the coffee he drinks. So it's just
running right through them.
So it's literally like 200 grams of protein. Is that accurate?
That's what I shoot for you.
200 grams of protein and 500 milligrams of caffeine and no water. Maybe a guava LaCroix.
Honestly, no, I drink like 6 or 7 of those a day.
And then green jarred salsa. And that's the only thing this man consumes. But you know what? I think he's doing all right.
Morgan, do you have any guesses?
About your solution?
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm on the caffeine train. I mean, as the coffee thing makes it go very fast.
Oh, sure does. No,
Like a luge.
I'll leave it. It is up to you.
I actually am a huge fan of prunes for that exact reason. I eat a ton of dried fruit.
I haven't seen you eat a prune in like 2 months.
Can I tell you what some people do like intermittent fasting when it comes to like calories or whatever.
Sure.
I do intermittent fasting on nutrition this is because whenever I go home, my dinner tonight is literally going to be like a half a head of roasted cauliflower. I made a bunch of like pickled carrots. I'm going to like turn that into some sort of a salsa.
Wow.
The other day I made a
classy.
cauliflower
Yum.
gratin, except the gratin part was literally just roasted tomatoes, zucchini, and miso blended up. When I go
So it
home,
wasn't
I am
gratin.
just eating all delicious fresh produce and dried fruits and fibrous vegetables. And then when I come here, I just eat like fistfuls of ham because I don't want to pay $30 for lunch delivery. And then all the stuff that we eat on set is just like, calzone based.
So well-balanced diet. Right? They hit all the major food groups right there.
You don't have to balance it all in every meal. You can
Just
take
in general.
You look at it holistically?
Exactly.
Okay.
But thank you for the concern about my digestive issues. And Morgan, thank you for being here for that question.
Of course.
Hi, my name is Brian. Thank you, Nicole and Josh, for inspiring me to go to culinary school and, work fine dining right now. I just would like to know, what do you think about things like edible flowers, smoke on cocktails, anything that just adds glitz and glam to a dish that might otherwise taste better without it? Thank you so much. Love you guys.
You can take this
Love
one, Morgan. How do you feel about this?
I'm actually so glad to be here for this question.
Yeah,
specifically.
awesome.
I'm a big fan of throwing some jazz hands on like a dish, like occasionally, and also like I was gonna say in barista competitions, which are like a weird, silly, strange thing that I do, and are a whole world of their own. All of our beverages have to have so much flair in them, and so it's always the flowers and the smoke and the dry ice and everything, and it's so fun to make a thing that looks as interesting as it tastes.
Yeah.
So I'm pro flair, but I do recognize it has a place. I think there are definitely dishes and times where it is not appropriate to add those things, but to each their own. I'm trying to remember, there were two cookbooks that came out around the same time. One was a chef named Brooks Headley, who was the pastry chef at some spot in New York, but he opened Superiority Burger. And he was known as this just like punk rock chef, just like super like masculine rocker dude, despite being a pastry chef. But in his cookbook, he had like black and white photos, like a cigarette ashed out next to a cake. And then there was another more sort of like bloggy type person with the cookbook. And someone wrote these dual reviews where they were like, oh, well, hers seems so curated and precious, whereas his is like super DIY, in the moment, candid. And it was like, no, somebody ashed that cigarette intentionally on a photo set. Both of these have the same amount of curation. So when we're talking about the things like edible flowers and glitz and glam, that comes in waves and cycles. And so now fine dining, like the trends are a really interesting one is, you ever see where they shave radishes, they mandolin them out super thin, and then they scale them all across the bowl to almost obscure what's underneath? Oh, yeah.
Yes, of course.
That's the same type of glitz and glam, although we see that and we think it looks cool and mysterious, but that's what people thought about edible flowers 20 years ago, right? So there's always going to be these aesthetic changes in fine dining, and some of them, I don't think the dish needed that many radishes. One of my biggest pet peeves is you go to a fine dining restaurant and you'll get like a cake dessert, and the cake is just, it's torn and thrown on the plate.
Yeah.
It's like,
but like very aesthetically.
Exactly, and it's meant to look rustic. Like somebody described it as a cake fell from the sky and happened to land on the plate. But it's like, this would have tasted so much better if it was just a nice piece of cake.
I think the question that needs to always be asked is it functional?
Sure.
Is it intentional?
Yeah, is it intentional or is it functional in the dish or the drink or whatever you're garnishing?
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's times change. 10 years from now, the aesthetic will be completely different, and we'll be complaining about the old days of the radish shells covering things, or nasturtium leaves, or red sorrel.
Let me tell you, I normally love some good glitz and glamour with my food. But the other day I saw a video on the internet of Poppy Steak. Have you heard of this place?
No.
It's in Miami. They bring you a briefcase of meat, and they open it. And there's bottle service girls going, woo, steak. And then they take a hot iron, they flame it up, they go while they're like playing like music. They brand the steak. They leave the table, charge you $1,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do I think that there's a place for edible flowers and, smoke coming out of a cocktail? Sure. Do I think the opposite end of the spectrum is being ostentatious and crazy? Yeah. Can I respect the gold leaf on, a dessert? Sure. Do I love the craziness of going to a restaurant and dropping $1,000 on a piece of meat? Not really. So I think there's a time and place for everything. I think being a culinary school kid, you'll definitely be introduced to a lot of really cool, interesting ingredients and garnishes that you've never heard of or tasted before. But just keep that in mind that garnishing is a spectrum, and you can very simply be an edible gold person, or it can be a Poppy Steak branding tableside girl restaurants. So just keep that in mind.
I had a great garnish recently. Shout out to Chef Diego Argotti at Poltergeist. He has a dish called...
I love Poltergeist.
Did you have the Thai Caesar?
Yes.
Do you remember the garnish?
Can I say it?
Say it.
Okay, they basically took these rice papers, like the ones that you use for summer rolls. Sayo. And then he fries them, and then he arranges them like a glacier. Up a nice, like a glacial mountain, tall, and then he puts some powdered lemongrass on the top.
It's like lemongrass. I don't think it's spirulina, but it's this kind of green.
Sure. And there's a wonderfully dressed Caesar salad. I say dressed because
imagine like a babbling brook being incorporated in this somehow as well.
Yeah, it's like that. So it's landscapey.
It's phenomenal. So you have to take your spoon and you crack it. Almost like it's encased in like salt, and then they become the croutons of the salad.
Oh, I love that!
Awesome!
See,
what a great
functional. It's functional. There you go.
You should go to
it's
dinner
not
there.
precious. It's not like they're artfully plated. It's just
there's a reason it's
supposed to be
there.
fun.
It functions aesthetically and it functions in taste as well.
Yeah, that rules.
That's a
amazing.
great
You'll learn
salad.
new techniques. Be open to new techniques.
Yeah, have fun. Culinary school's fun.
Hey, Josh. Hey, Nicole. This is John from Jacksonville, Florida.
What about Morgan?
First of all, I just want to say that the Jaguars are going to win a Super Bowl before the Eagles do.
Doug Peterson,
and
round 2,
for
baby.
my food opinion, I want to get your take on peanut butter and chicken noodle soup because it's something my girlfriend has done since we've been together.
Okay.
And to be frank, it just grosses me out. So I need to hear somebody else say it. Thanks, guys.
Morgan?
You're getting in the middle of like some relationship drama right now, actually.
Most of the time I just tell him to get a divorce.
Yeah, Josh has to get a divorce. And I say, no, work on it. Come on.
If you're having enough problems to go to a food podcast, you should get a divorce. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
if that's where your relationship ends up.
Yeah, y'all family, friends, actual therapists run their course.
Food podcast.
Yeah, no.
Oh my God.
It's time to call it quits. You ever put peanut butter in chicken noodle soup?
I gotta say, I might be the wrong person to ask on this. I grew up vegetarian and like don't really eat meat. So I do like a lot of fish, but I will say conceptually, peanut butter and in like a chicken soup, I could see that working nicely.
Right?
That sounds, there's like I feel like it would be nice.
We're on the right side of history here.
Yeah, you could theoretically do anything.
My question is, what's the like kind of the theme of the soup? Like, what are the other? No theme. See, if it's just peanut butter and chicken, we've got a problem. But I'm like, there's certain spices I could see being like
big time,
very nice in here. Certain profiles that'd be delicious.
I put a spoonful of peanut butter in my ramen sometimes with a squirt of sriracha and a little bit of lime. Call it a pad thai when I'm feeling a little bit lonely. But the chicken noodle soup part bothers me a little bit just because of the noodle.
What do you mean because of the noodles? They just dissolve at that point.
They
especially
bother
if it's a
me.
can.
I know,
It's
but
just
they
all kind of
bother
mush.
me. But they bother me. So it can happen. Sure, I don't condone it. I'm not going to condone this bad behavior, but you can do it.
The combination of bouillon and peanut butter, you already know where I'm going to go with this. It reminds me of...
Dog food?
No. One of my favorite West African dishes, mafe.
Oh, sorry. I also love mafe.
I love mafe. Mafe is a... it can be made with chicken or lamb or goat, whatever
Senegalese,
meat.
right?
It's, it's Senegal. I believe also in like Nigeria and like Cote d'Ivoire they make it. But my aunt is Senegalese and I grew up eating it. She just called it peanut sauce for us. But and she made it with beef. But it's there aren't
like bouillon and peanut flavors and
effectively, and it becomes super super creamy. The oil kind of breaks. Use red palm oil. There's tomato paste in it. There's Maggi sauce, which is
it's really good.
It's incredible. And then she makes this habanero hot sauce for it, and so you get the creaminess and richness from the peanut butter and the beef fat. It's so savory, so good. So you're like 30% of the way to that, and I think that's cool.
You gotta start somewhere.
You gotta start somewhere.
Keep on keeping on.
All right, that's our time. Thank you all for listening to A Hot Dog is a Sandwich. We got new audio-only episodes every Wednesday, videos out here on Sundays. Morgan, thank you so much for stopping by. This was a blast.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Of course. Where can people find you? Plug what you got to plug.
Oh, you can find me at MorganDrinksCoffee on pretty much everywhere. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. A lot of coffee things. So come hang out.
Oh, yeah. Come hang out.
That's awesome. If you want to be featured on Opinions or Casseroles, you can hit us up at 833-DOG-POD-1. The number again is 833-DOG-POD-1.
Have you ever called our hotline?
I have not ever.
You should call it,
I kind of want to now, honestly.
You should call it. Your phone's the bag. You should call it. And for more Mythical Kitchen, check us out on YouTube. We got videos of doing other stuff. You know the deal. See y'all next time.